Ah yes, the prestigious 1994 Lincoln Town Car. I picked up this beauty a few months ago, and I've been trying to fix a few diagnostic trouble codes. One is a 332, insufficient exhaust gas recirculation flow. Since the EGR valve rarely goes bad in these engines, I opted to replace the EGR valve pressure sensor. That took care of the code for about 100 miles, until I got a 335 code for EGR valve pressure sensor voltage out of range. That's a fancy way of saying the new sensor had failed. I would have to install a new one, again. So I got another sensor, this time OEM Ford, and installed that. But as I was putting everything back together, I thought, let me make a video how to access this thing, since it is buried pretty far back in there. So it doesn't have the actual replacement of the sensor itself, but it shows how I accessed it. That sensor, of course, is not easy to get to. If we look to the back of the engine here, get you in here, and the light over here, it's basically straight down. See that silver poking out there in the back? Yep, it's there. Here's the other side of it. We got to take out this, just use my pointer here, we got to take out this wiper, the wiper cowling first, and then we can take out the, that's the wiper motor there, and that will give us a ton of access. Well, actually, yeah, not that much, but enough to get the job done, because it is buried down in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is remove the wiper arms. This one you can actually remove with the wiper attached, because it's going to clear the underside of the hood here. Toward the bottom, you're going to see there's a little tab right there. I'm just going to lift up a little bit on this arm, reaching here at the screwdriver, push this up, and then I'm going to let the arm down. And this arm now is kind of flopping around, so it's ready to come off of there. Off of the post, just kind of ease it up. Now when this comes loose, you want to be careful. There's a pin under here that's going to want to try to fall out. Guide your arm right on out of there. And here is, if we look right here, here's that pin. You can see there. All right, and for the passenger side, this time we do have to take the wiper blade off, because if you try to lift this, it hits the hood. There's no way to like sneak it past. There we go. So now we can lift up this far enough that we can operate that tab and get that to lock the arm up. Put myself over here. Just gonna lift up the arm. Try again here. Maybe yeah, there we go. We gotta go up high enough. So I had to come way out here with the arm. I pull it toward me to get enough clearance. And now I let the arm down and see how it stays up. Bring it up and under. Okay, and there it is there. It's still there, so we're good. Okay, so first step is to take the weather stripping off of here. So this just pulls off. Then you have the 4 clips here. Then you've got several screws, so we'll go ahead and take those out. And then once those are all released, there's another one here. I think that one's out already. Then this should lift up. And it's got some kind of tape that sort of makes it stick a little bit, so you might have to work it loose. This has already been off of here once, so it's pretty easy, but might have to work this loose. One more screw there. Now this should lift off. at this point, there's going to be a hose under here that you'll have to take loose. So here's the hose. This has already been off of here, so here's the hose here, and there's your connection. So you'll want to carefully remove the hose from this barb. That's for your windshield washer fluid. So they do not like to come off of there. That's actually one of the things I'm going to change when I put this back together, because these are very difficult to find in the aftermarket. In fact, you can only get universal ones, which are not going to work very well, and I have not found any at the junkyard either. So you want to be real careful getting that off of there. Move this out of the way, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then normally there is a screw here in the corner. This one's already out, so go ahead and lift this up. Again, it's going to fight you a little bit because there's some kind of weather stripping here that sticks. So just gently work it loose. I've already been in here, so this is coming right up. And then again, you've got another for your windshield washer fluid. There's another hose down here, which you need to work that loose from the barbed fitting here. There's not much room to work, and you need to be gentle because, again, these things are really hard. If you do break it, it's really hard to find them a replacement. This one actually is broken, and I was able to super glue it back together. And we'll just set him aside. And now we're left with the window motor unit, which just has these larger bolts. Just got to take that far one out over there. So I'll see if I can get you guys in there. You can see there's one here. All right, and then there's one. So now this whole thing should lift up, and again, you might have to work it loose a little bit because it does have a weather stripping that kind of glues it down a little bit, but this should lift out of here. It's pretty heavy with that motor in there, and I've had this out, so on the bottom there's going to be two connectors for the motor which need to come off, and they're going to connect. One goes in here and the other one is here into the motor itself. So those two connectors have to come off, then this thing lifts out of there. Okay, and with that wiper motor and all that stuff out of the way, now we actually have some better access here to come in. If we come in back in here, and now we can see that sensor that need to be replaced is right here. And you have easier access to it, and you've got your connector back here to take off. Let's see if I can get you in there a little closer. There we go. So you've got that connector to take off, and then you can see there's a nut there, and there's one on the other side as well. And there's two hoses on the bottom, one there and one over there, if you can see, to take loose. Believe it or not, if you can push them over there with a screwdriver, and then if you go to the other side of the car, stand over there, to install the new one, you're going to want to remove this sensor, and that's just a clip here, and then there's like one bolt, and that comes out of there, and then you'll have plenty of room to install this and put these hoses back on the bottom. So that's how you can access that. So at this point we will start reassembling. We're going to reinstall the wiper motor now. So this just kind of sits in there. Go over that way and then come back toward you. Kind of like that. And before it gets too much at home, what you're going to want to do is plug in your wiper motor. There's 2 connectors down under there. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Not much room to work. But let's see. Yeah, they don't give you a lot of extra line here either to be able to stretch it over there. So you really gotta get it more or less into position. Take a rest. Okay, so if you get a block of wood in there and you're just trying to use it to brace this thing up a little bit, take some of the weight off of it. So I put the block of wood here, and then if I reach up here, take a hold of this thing, and I tilt it back like this, and I reach around this side, kind of toward the back of it, I can then feel where that plug is supposed to go in. That one plugged in. These connectors are never fun, never a good time. There you go. Okay, now get rid of our block of wood. Lower this down, kind of in the right direction here. Back where it's supposed to go. Over in this corner, you want to make sure you plug in your washer fluid hose. Right over here. Let me get you over there so you can see what I'm doing. And then down in here is your kind of where the washer fluid connects, right there. And that's the hard part in my mind. Getting that thing in place. Now you just put the bolts back in it. Put the bolts in here. And just leave them loose in case you have to make some adjustments when we go to the other side. Another one down here. Okay, we've got one over here, straight down here. It goes right here in front. And somewhere there's a wrench around here. You can go ahead and tighten them down. These are 8mm. Got 4 on the other side. All right. Don't need to be super tight because they've got those rubber grommets on there, so that'll help to hold them in place so they don't loosen up. All right, so one of the things I want to do is put a piece of extension hose on this sprayer on the cowling. So we flip this guy over. We've got our hose here, or the receiver here for the hose, and it's just very difficult to get this to come off, get the hose to come off of that. So I've got some hose I got on Amazon. I believe this is 7mm. So I'm just going to take a length of this, and I'm going to make it long enough so I can make kind of a loop and not have it kink. So something like that. And the idea here is I'll take a connector, also got these at Amazon, just an assortment pack. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch and this elbow. And I'm just going to plug this elbow into one of the connectors there, into one end of the hose, and the other end I'm going to plug into here. And that we should be able to connect that up now. And not have it kink. The idea is it'll kind of sit like that. And what that'll do is then if I have to take this off again, I'm going to have all this extra that'll allow me to move this out of the way, and then I can disconnect it here and not touch this, because this is kind of fragile, that end. This end don't care about, and just pull that and it comes out just fine. So let's go try to install it. Okay. Go ahead and sneak this in here. We've got our tubing extension here. We'll go ahead and plug that in. Should make this much easier. So you got plenty of extra length here now. Plug him in. And just kind of make sure he's not in the way, not getting all kinked or anything. Gonna put him there. Yeah, something like that. All right. Then we'll just start some of these screws. And we'll just leave them loose until we get them all started, just in case we got to shift anything around. That looks pretty good. And here we got the same thing. We got our hose extension, which we're going to attach to this guy. Get him plugged in. Push him in. Position. Make sure he does not kink up. Kind of. And then now, bring him back here. One thing we do have to watch out is that wiper arm actuator moves back and forth under there, so it will rub against it a little bit, but I don't think that will hurt it. So we'll see. Worst case, it wears through that, and we'll have to go in and replace that hose, but we'll see how it works for now. Go ahead and get our screws started. Got one here. That hides right on the other side of the windshield wiper rest here. Goes right here. And try to sneak them over a little bit so you don't have too big of a gap, but everything looks like it's fitting okay, so we'll go ahead and tighten everything down. Okay, not too tight because it is just plastic. And then we'll tighten this guy. Okay. And we'll finish tightening on the other side. That's all for those. Feels pretty solid. Then put our clips in here. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and put our weather strip on. Alright, so here we have the driver's side windshield wiper, and I'm going to reinstall it, but just to note, this will fall out. So you got to be real careful it doesn't just drop out of there. I actually took some like RTV and put a little coating on it and slid it back in there. So it's not glued in, you can still pull it out, but it won't fall out. So just to hold it in there. So what we're going to do, going to come down here, and it's in the resting position, so kind of put it as if it's at the bottom of the stroke, and try to find that where it's keyed, and it should slide on there and just kind of drop down on there. And it should be really close. Like, this is real close. Here's the rest right here. See, this bumper is going to drop onto the rest. I think that's right where you want it. So then what we're going to do, I'm going to pull the arm back a little bit. It's going to relieve tension, and then I'm going to slide this tab in, and that'll let the arm drop down and kind of lock it in place. So lift up on the arm a little bit, and I'm going to push this tab in. It just goes in like that. I let the arm down, and there it is. And it just sits on the rest, and it's got a little bit of play. It's not tight against it, but we'll put the passenger side on in a similar way. Somewhere at the bottom of the stroke, so it slides right on there, and I think that will. You kind of have to guess that it'll have a few different positions it will go in, even though it is slotted. It'll have a few different positions. You can adjust it a little bit. So I'm just going to go with how it fell on there this time. So again, I'm gonna pull up on the arm to relieve pressure, relieve tension on the spring here, and push that tab in. That'll let the arm drop down. So relieve the tension, slide that in, and then let this drop down. Okay, and so it's in the parked position. It's on the rest here. So I think that's pretty good. There's a little bit of tension. It's pressing up against this a little bit, and I think that's normal. So I'm just going to leave it alone and go ahead and put the wiper on the wiper arm, and this job will be done. And put him there, and then he just slides out like that. He's secure. And that should do it. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If so, give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We'll see you on the next one.